Freedom's the answer. What's the question? You're listening to Ernest Hancock.
Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, here with John Green. Going over, I tell you what my, one thing that I want to make sure we get to. Now, this is one thing. I wrote these down so I wouldn't forget. How are the political stars lining up? Because, there's always, I deal with these people all the time. I mean, it's like I see them at events, socially, we, have drinks together, whatever, and I'm going, I just want to make sure that I know that you're a scumbag, right? We're all good on that. Okay, you're a scumbag. Let's toast to your scumbagness, and they're proud of it. Yeah, I'm the best. I'm the more getting this kind of. The more you can promote me as doing that, Ernie, you just make me lots of money. The fact that everybody knows I can get this scumbaggy stuff done, they come to me. Courtesy of Ernest Hancock. You think I'm kidding? This is how these guys think. Okay. All right. So I want to ask you, you know who a lot of these guys are. So you give me some examples, man.
All right, a good one is Marty Schultz, the government liaison officer for APS, the power company, and the vice president of Pinnacle West Utilities. He's been with Pinnacle West for 32 years. He's the number one infrastructure spending lobbyist in the state of Arizona. He's retiring after 32 years. What's he going to do? Well, he's going to open an office for a branch office of a Colorado lobbyist firm whose sole intent of being in Arizona is to lobby on how to channel Arizona Economic Development Authority funds to projects for their buddies. That's Marty Schultz. Oh, by the way, he helped pass light rail.
Of course he did.
Then we got Russell Pierce, the great conservative. Well, Russell Pierce, he keeps making a lot of rhetoric and hot air and smoke about opposing this jobs bill with the Economic Development Authority in it. But the reality is he's going to lead the charge to pass it. And the way he's going to do it is by tinkering around with some of the sections and saying, oh, we're going to get rid of this and we're going to get rid of that. But the bulk of it, which is the debt spending, the doubling of spending in this state, will pass. And his gig is, well, we don't want to raise property taxes on homeowners. And in the December 3rd Capital Times, he says, it's a myth. So part of this bill is lowering business property tax rates. Great thing, right? But the way Arizona state property tax law works is automatically. They don't look at what you pay. They look at what their total take is in any given geography. So if the total take as a result of the business property tax reduction goes down, by statute, it's automatically adjusted up on the other classes of taxpayers, which means homeowners. So Russell Pierce is saying that it won't raise taxes on homeowners, property owners, but state law says it will automatically do so.
So the legislation,
there's more to this, though.
Yeah, the legislation will reduce the business taxes on property tax for businesses, and they call it personal property. It's like their inventory and stuff like that. So it reduces that.
Good thing.
But the way the formula is, there's a certain amount of revenue that they have to create from this geography.
By statute.
This area. And when the revenue goes down, it automatically triggers increase on private property tax.
Correct.
On personal residences.
Exactly. So they're planning on raising homeowner property taxes to finance this.
I said something to him at the Wrigley Mansion on December 15th. He was up there, and I go, you think I don't know what you guys are going to do? No, without even knowing. I know what they're going to do. It's going to be more money from me in property taxes. I know that. You can blah, blah, blah all you want. But in the end of this thing, more money.
Well, the interesting thing on the Pierce side is he's gonna do the rain dance, telling you he doesn't want to pass this. He's gonna write articles about how he doesn't want to pass this. But the reality is he's running for Congress. Russell Pierce is running for Congress. And you can't run for Congress without money. So everybody gets a payoff out of passing this development authority. Everybody, when Kirk Adams, the president of the House, terms out, if he needs a job, oh, did you help pass the Economic Development Authority? Oh, here's a directorship. We'll give you $150,000 a year and be one of our directors. Russell Pierce, did you help pass the Development Authority? Oh, well, maybe the Arizona Chamber of Commerce can find a couple $100,000 to help you in your congressional campaign. Everybody gets a piece of this. And that's how the Republicans are going to pass this Democrat, liberal, Obama spending bill, because everybody gets a piece.
I remember when the TARP was defeated the first time, and this was it was right before the '08 presidential election. It was right after the revolution had its big impact with Dr. Paul and everything. And what happened was they knew that here it came. It's overnight. Lehman Brothers is going to go down. Oh, my goodness, the sky is going to fall, and we're going to have martial law in the streets and the threatening of them. And I say good. Just let it go, man, and it'll work its way out. And it sure as heck wasn't to benefit us. So they did too big to fail kind of, and they passed this thing. During that time, they were screaming about all the bailouts they needed. People weren't being able to get loans, and they weren't being. And who was suffering? It was the very people that are the lobbyists and the campaign chairs and all this, because the money dried up to them. If you do not get this passed, you don't get your Congress, you don't get your state, you don't get your local parties, the Republicans, to get this thing passed, all this infrastructure that we created in support of electing Republicans to public office is gone. You're done. And some of the names of the people I was talking about. They were like going, Ernie, we got to pass. We got to. Or what? You won't have a job? You're confusing me with someone that cares. I'm funding your job to go and, what? Advocate for what? And that's what you're talking about, this Tea Party thing, so on. How far off am I on that?
Oh, you're right on the mark. And the sickest thing is that the Tea Party people need to wake up. They really do, because, they think that some political savior is going to come along and save them. But they're looking at what the person says. You can't look at what a politician says. You have to look at what they do. You have to look at what votes they cast. You have to look at the words of the bill that actually get passed, like Ernie said earlier. And that's exactly guys, you have to understand, quote-unquote Tea Party-supported conservatives are going to pass a bill which doubles state spending in less than 10 years for certain. Doubles state spending, 100% of it being debt financed. Now, what in the world got us into this current economic circumstance we're in? Exactly this.
They don't. It's not just the debt. It's the interest. They are perpetually enslaving us. This is and it's right there for you to see, but you don't. It's like things. I mean, big things like birds falling dead from the sky, fish bubbling up. I mean, and they go, pay no attention here. The guy from the government said it's no big deal. It happens all the time. Don't worry about it. And I'm going, wow, how bad does it have to get? So What do you think is some of the other pieces of legislation or things that they might try to do here in Arizona? But if it's a big thing like this, it's not just Arizona.
Oh, yeah. No, here's the other big ones that are coming besides this economic development spending authority. In Arizona, you're going to have conservatives, Tea Party-supported conservatives, coming out in support of a constitutional convention resolution, which theoretically is for a balanced budget amendment at the federal level. You're also going to have, quote-unquote, Tea Party-supported, quote-unquote, conservative Republicans coming out for, you ready for this? The federalization of state birth certificates, so that no one gets a birth certificate. No newborn of any citizen, of anybody, can get a birth certificate unless you pass a U.S. Department of Homeland Security National ID InstaCheck. So they're now not just creating a national ID database, they're creating a multi-generational national ID database linking generation to generation. Now, for you gun owners out there, you know that they keep the InstaCheck records, which means when you file your 4473 yellow form, right, that InstaCheck information is kept.
They said they wouldn't, though.
Oh, well, but two NRA Supreme Court cases in the 90s prove that they are.
Yeah, I know.
So then now you have Homeland Security with this national ID database linking generations together, and you buy a gun. That's gun registration, folks. And they're not going to do the registration part because it's automatic. So all they have to do is link to your national ID file. They know where it is, which means they can skip the registration part and go straight to confiscation. So that's coming. And it's because conservatives lost their vigilance. It's because constitutionalists lost their vigilance and looked to politicians to be their savior. Now, I'm a spiritual person, but savior came 2,000 years ago. There ain't no savior. So if you haven't learned your lesson by now and you allow yourself to be misled, you're in big trouble. And so is this country.
What do you think it is, though? I mean, you're involved heavy in this. Is it that the people we're genetically that way, just looking for someone to save us? It's in the water. It's what? I mean,
they didn't listen to the founding fathers, and they let their vigilance down. They allowed people to tinker with the form of government, with the Constitution, as long as they got their agenda, And that's here we are today. You can't do it.
Don't stop. Believe it. We can survive this thing, and it's going to crumble of its own weight. They're not going to go quietly into the good night. They're going to get mean. They're going to get desperate. So while people are starving in the street, there's going to be a bunch of these guys up top there. I can't get anything from these people. Yeah, but they owe me. They're indebted. They go, somebody something, and then it'll be a global thing, and then go into the world though, and something. It's always going to be about making yours theirs. Wow, I'm ready to go.